Fenit, the social godliness drug that enhances your ability to speak, to connect with others, improves your mood, and enhances your cognition. Definitely has an ugly side though, with rapid tolerance buildup, terrible withdrawal, and an addictive component to it. Except, what are some alternatives to it where you still get the same upside with less of the downside? Phenit is mainly a GABA B agonist. It also stimulates dopamine receptors. So to mimic it, we'd want to affect those same pathways. So affecting GABA and dopamine transmission in some way, preferably in the way that Phenit affects it. A licorice extract, yes, you heard that right, a licorice extract. Licorice has surprisingly a robust mood boosting aspect of it, except it can have some side effects and it can be contradicted, which is why a specific compound isolated from licorice, isoliquid can be very useful because it's actually crazily complex. Like, it is bizarre. This compound, like many others, was pioneered by Nootropics Depot in that they brought out a controlled dissolve tablet for it. And the reason that it is so good is because it's very much the yin to the yang to Phenit. Pharmacologically wise. For the yin, the more calming aspect, it's a GABA A PAM and a GABA B agonist, as well as being an NMDA antagonist. And then for the yang, it's a dopamine D3 agonist, as well as being a monoamine A and B inhibitor. It hits both of those targets very well with some ancillary effects. I was personally very excited to try this compound because to find GABA B agonists is kind of rare, and to find them in a natural extract, even rarer. And to find them in any appreciable affinity towards those receptors, even rarer. And then when I found out Nootropics Depot was doing a compound like this, I jumped on board. I was like, that's so cool. That's so interesting. Sign me up. It's really good. It is good for what it does do. It's very stimulating and sedating. People call it an upgraded form of L-theanine, where it is the intersection of both of those adjectives. It is similar to Phenit, except it is weaker. So definitely do tailor your expectations, where you get two of those primary subjective effects, in that you get the social uplifting effects and the mood enhancing effects. So it's good in that way. It's not really gonna put you to sleep or anything like that. It's more stimulating than anything, except the good thing about it is that it's legal everywhere in the world. So anyone can take it and they can get good effects from it. And it is a good, true and blue Phenit alternative. And if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe. Emoxypine, this is a synthetic vitamin B6 mimetic that shares a lot of similar effects to B6, except also slightly different. It has been used for decades for a multitude of health conditions. It's a potent antioxidant and actoprotector, meaning that it is a synthetic adaptogen helping your body deal with stressful situations or stress overall. It modulates GABA receptors, particularly affecting the benzodiazepine complex on the GABA receptor, as well as it upregulates GABA B receptors, which is what Phenit hits. So you could use it concurrently or the off days from Phenit to keep your tolerance at bay and make sure you always respond the way that you want to respond when you do take Phenit. It increases dopamine levels in the brain, as well as increasing cerebral circulation, which downstream affects dopamine levels. In my experience, it works great sometimes. I don't know, and I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for, because you just love a compound that would just give you the same effects every single time. Except with Emoxypine, I find it's just always different. And for whatever reason, there's probably confounding variables, different things going on. Maybe one day I was underslept. Maybe another day I took it with a bunch of other compounds. Maybe another day I was just feeling great and it just kind of fit into that. It was the puzzle piece to that. I don't know, because there's sometimes I take it where it makes me very extroverted. I'm in like a bar and I'm talking to people and it's super easy for me to socialize, tell stories, make jokes. I just have that good GABAergic flow. Then there's other times that I am also out and I'm in a bar or in a social setting and I'm just very introverted and I am like in a good mood per se, but I'm just very stuck in my head. So sometimes it makes me extroverted, sometimes it makes me introverted, except unfortunately it seems that the market for Emoxypine is drying up because the main manufacturer and producer of it recently stopped producing it just due to lack of demand. So there is currently a shortage going on. That being said, it is just like a chemical like anything else, and I'm sure local labs could synthesize it, except official Emoxypine is getting tougher and tougher to get. which is why we love Russian resellers like Cosmic Nootropics, link in the description. Cava, I'm sure you've heard about it. It's the famed alcohol alternative that gives you the same upsides like the good mood without the downsides like hangovers. And it's crazy to think too that alcohol, ethanol, is literally poison. Like, it's literally poison for your body that your body is trying to get rid of. Even so, when you're drunk and you feel that warm feeling in your stomach, that's because it's like tearing away and dissolving your stomach lining. And that's kind of crazy to think. And it's such like a widely adopted thing, for good or for bad, except there's definitely alternatives out there. And that's why Cava is very good, which has been used for thousands of years, that affects the same receptors. So the GABA A receptors, which is what ethanol affects, basically the active part of alcohol. And this is a slight deviation from the premise of this video, because Cava doesn't really affect GABA B, it just really affects GABA A. So in that way, it's not really a Phenibut alternative, except it is in just its subjective effects, in that it makes you more social, it eases social anxiety, and it can enhance cognition. So it hits those three parameters, but pharmacologically wise, not so much, except there's a reason for that. It's because it's tough to find Phenibut alternatives, because there's not many compounds out there like it that affects it. The gabapenoids, which is a small group of GABAergic drugs that Phenibut fits into, is a small group. You know, there's not that many options. There's GHB, there's Phenibut, there's baclofen, there's pregnenolone, except besides that, there's not really that many. And so the way that it works is it just enhances the GABA A receptors sensitivity to agonists, whether that's GABA itself or ethanol, basically just potentiating the GABAergic effect. And so it has dopaminergic effects due to its monoamine oxidase inhibiting effects, as well as adrenal effects because it's a norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. And it also have some dopamine effects just because of that, because norepinephrine and dopamine are often linked in how they work, how they function in the body. So you can't really just reuptake norepinephrine without reuptaking dopamine. If you think about it, Cava has been used for thousands of years, has a long history of therapeutic use, and there's only been some isolated reports of people in Germany taking Cava, consuming it, and having liver issues, except the kicker here is that it was synthetic Cava. It wasn't even real legitimate Cava. You know, there was a modification to it. It was a synthetic cavein, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. With a lot of these things, there's not some herbal smoking gun that, you know, it's just gonna ruin your life forever. Not even for lions, man. You know, attack me if you want. And obviously listen to your body. If you are noticing ill effects, stop taking it and you will return back to normal. At the end of the day, just source a quality extract and this won't be an issue. And if you want an extra layer of protection, take glutathione because it will help your body digest Cava, because at the end of the day, it is a little bit hard on your liver. Your liver definitely has to work a little bit overtime, so you can help support liver functions, have some hepatoprotectivity, and take some glutathione and you should be good. In my experience, I honestly don't like it too much just because it makes me feel drunk, and I don't really like feeling drunk. I like it on one hand because, you know, I'm disinhibited, you know, I'm a bit more socially free, in a better mood, except on the other hand, I'm just stupid. I'm just a little bit dumb. I'll be disinhibited, so I'll approach the girl at the bar, but then I'll just be dumb and I won't know what to say afterwards. So like, what's the point? Except it can be good just for making you feel more socially loose, where you just walk around with less stress and anxiety on your mind and you're a bit more in the moment and a bit more free. A lot of people like to take it after work just to help relax and like detox away the stress from the day. My experience is that mine. A lot of people love Cava and they notice great effects from it, so it is very person dependent. That being said, there are genuine Phenibut alternatives in that they are analogs, so modifications of the original Phenibut chemical. 4-Phenibut or F-Phenibut is a modification of this chemical with an extra fluorinated group. Basically, it's just more potent in that it's more intense effects, except they last in a shorter period of time. Some people prefer it, except not really. I think there's kind of a general consensus that Phenibut by itself is a bit superior, except if you can't get that, you could get this. It is that an alternative, except it's probably not the best one. If I had to pick a best one, I would say isoliquid digenin, just because it's so cool. It has similar effect profile. You can get it anywhere in the world. You can take it subliminally underneath the tongue for those effects, so it is good in that way. And if you are curious about Phenibut, you want to know more about it, you're like, what is this compound this guy is talking about in a green sweater? What is going on? I did a deep dive into Phenibut and my experience with it, the reviews about it. So check out that video on the screen.